guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad everyone stopped by today because I've got a fun little project for everybody. For today's video, I'm going to be making three posable, I had to check to make sure I had 3 fingers up. For today's video, I'm going to be making 3 posable werewolf cups. These ones are going to be put up in my Etsy shop, so if you guys are interested in giving one a home, if you just seen one that you absolutely adore and just can't live without, check the link down below and I'll have them up for sale until someone buys them. So of course, act quickly if you really want them and they will be there, hopefully. Anyways, let's get started. Okay, first thing I'm going to start on is the clay for the wolf pups. First thing, I'm going to take a piece of tin foil and I'm going to shape it into a rough, kind of long shape. This is going to be the middle part of our face. I'm then going to take my Sculpting clay and I'm going to cover the whole thing in clay. Once I have everything covered and kind of lightly shaped, I'm going to add the eyes to the face. Then I'm going to start building up my clay around the eyes to kind of give more of a cheekbone and more facial features. Once I have the eyes finished, I'm going to add a strip of clay and start making the lips for the mouth. After that, I'm going to add a little bit of clay to the end of the snout and start making the nose for the wolf. After that, we just need to add the texture for the fur and our face will be finished. Okay, now I'm going to make the paw pads for the wolf's feet. This part's pretty simple. I just need to squish down a little bit of clay for a surface to work on, and then I'm going to be making a bunch of little balls of clay, different sizes of course, and then we are going to apply that onto the surface, sculpt it all together, and you will make a paw pad. For these paw pads, I am adding a bit of circle glass to the base of the paw pad to give it a bit more color. So the only pads that I'm sculpting is really just the toe pads. Once I have my paw pads finished, I'm going to cut the extra clay away from them, and we're going to bake those along with our faces. So I'm going to put all of this in the oven for roughly about 55 minutes at 275 Fahrenheit, and then we can start working more on our clay. Once our clay is finished baking and is cooled, I can now start gluing the paw pads to the wire frame, and then we can start sculpting the rest of the foot. For the wire frame, I'm going to start with strips of wire. I bent the tips of the wire inwards so there's more surface area for the paw pads to be glued onto, and there's no sharp points to worry about. I'm going to be gluing the front paw pads to each wire, and then we can start sculpting the top parts of the toes. Okay, to sculpt the top parts of the toes, I just have a bunch of pieces of clay, and I'm going to make little balls to go on top of the toe pads. So for each toe pad there will be a ball. The ones at the end will be slightly smaller than the ones at the middle, that way our foot doesn't look really bulky. And we will start blending everything together and get a nice foot shape. Once these feet are finished, I'm going to bake them for roughly about 35 minutes at 275 Fahrenheit, and then we can start on the back feet. These are going to be glued onto the back half of the wires that we already used. Okay, our wire is out of the oven, and I'm going to be gluing the paw pads, and then we can start on these toes as well. Okay, and here is all my clay pieces, all finished and ready. You can see all the different faces that I made, other than the one, of course, that I showed you how to sculpt. All the clay faces are basically the same sculpting method that I showed you, but I altered them just slightly to give them different expressions. Okay, on to the painting. Now for these wolves, I'm going to do them all different colors. So for each one, I'm going to primer them a different color. So one is going to be a light blue, so one face will be painted blue along with one set of paw pads. And then the same for the others. I'm going to do a gray one along with a dark purple one. After our layer of paint has dried, I can start adding the detail to the wolves. I'm going to start with the blue wolf. I'm going to be painting the eyes right now black. I might lighten them later, along with the nose. And then I can add some light highlights to the fur to give more dimensions and shapes. onto the feet. Now these are pretty simple. I'm going to be painting the toe pads a solid color, and then I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to the top of the foot so that they're just not one solid color. And of course, once my paint is dry, I'm going to be taking a small tool and scrape the paint off of the glass eyes along with the glass circles that are on the paw pads. That way those are not going to be covered in paint anymore, and then we can start resining them. After resining the clay pieces, they're going to have to sit overnight, so we can start on the fur now. Now for the patterns, I made them really simple. There's basically just a front and a back, no messing with a belly piece or anything like that. So this is basically how they look. I've got all three colors, and then here are the tails. I've got the same colors here. So I'm going to work on the sewing that needs to be done with a sewing machine, and then I will leave the rest to be hand sewn. For the tail, I'm just going to be sewing one side with the sewing machine. I'm going to leave the other side open so I can stuff and put the wire into it later. For the body, I'm going to be sewing along the sides of the neck, going down to the ends of the front arms, and then I'm going to be sewing the sides themselves, going down along the length of the back feet. The rest I will leave open for sewing later. Okay, now I'm going to start on the wire frame for the pieces. I'm going to be using our fabric pattern as a guide to shape the wire into the right shape. So I'm going to be taking the wire that has our feet on them, and I'm going to bend them along the length of the front arms, going down through the belly and down the back legs. So we have an idea of what those are going to be before we put them into the body. After that, I have these long pieces of wire that I'm going to use for the spine of the creature. This goes from the head all the way to the tip of the tail. You'll notice that one end I have kind of wrapped up. This part will go inside of the wolf's head, and I'm going to glue that into place. Now back to the pattern that I have. I'm going to be cutting right down the middle of the belly of the wolf. I'm doing this so that I can actually put the wireframe and glue all the clay pieces onto it. I can't really do that with the way it's sewn right now, and this just makes it a lot easier than sewing around the wireframe. Then I'm going to start gluing the fur of the neck around the face of the wolf. Next, I'm going to be adding the tails to the wolves. These I have already sewn ahead of time, and they're nice and stuffed at the end so that they are pretty fluffy at the end, and I'm going to be pushing the wire into the tail till it reaches the back, and then gluing the base of the tail to the wire. Now we're going to add the feet to the wolf. For this, I'm going to push all the feet through the openings that I have for the feet, and then we are going to glue the fur around the base of the foot. Once those are in place, I can start wrapping wire, combining all 3 of the wires together, and then we can put a layer of glue over that so it's nice and strong. Okay, once the wireframe is all finished, I can now start gluing the fur around the feet. After this, I just need to start sewing everything closed. So I'm going to start with the back legs, of course I'll do the front legs, and then we'll go down the belly of the wolf, making sure to stuff the piece as we go. Now, one last touch. We need to make some ears for our wolves. So this part's pretty simple. I'm going to be taking some felt. I cut some nice little triangles that aren't so pointy at the very top. And I'm going to be gluing these flat onto the colored fabric that we're going to use for each wolf. After the glue is dried, I just need to cut the ears out and then we can start gluing them onto the wolves. After the ears are on, I'm just going to add a little fur here and there to make some adjustments, and then our wolf is all finished, along with his buddies. Okay guys, and that's how I made my 3 little werewolf cubs. I really hope you liked them. They came out really cute. If you guys wanted to make something else posable using the same technique, you actually can. You can make like a cat, a dog, anything that you want to sit up kind of human-like but give more animal characteristics. You could even not have the tail and make a human if you want to make a human. Okay guys, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, make sure you leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't done that. Suggestions down below if you have any ideas for projects, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!